Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 13 of All the Mods 3 Expert Mode. Today we're going to continue our quest to make steel. Oh cool, it makes rich slag too. That's nice. Anyways, this cracked hot steel comes from the quartz ingots put through a blast furnace. And the next step is to chill it in an industrial chiller to make steel. Now this is a somewhat inefficient way of making it. You know, you have to build this thing, takes a lot of steps. Once you have steel, a little bit of steel though, I think you can unlock some better ways. So the arc furnace, perhaps the arc furnace is makeable. I'll have to take a look at that. But specifically, I think once you have some steel, the nuclear craft alloy furnace is craftable. Right, this is lead and graphite, unless graphite's something weird. Nope, graphite. Oh, that's graphite dust. That's not it. There we go. We can make graphite from coal. Right? Smelt coal. Yeah. All right. So graphite's easy. Bricks. And the only thing in here. Oh, just kidding. That takes a rolling machine. All right. Rewind. Back to steel. Are there other ways to do it then? Can't make it an induction smelter. Probably can't make this yet either. So maybe there isn't an easier way to make steel immediately, unless we can make the arc furnace. I'll investigate that later. Nonetheless, step one, though, is to take this cracked hot steel and cool it. So we have some modularium, and now I can hopefully build all the components in this list. Let's see, anything here? Gelid cryothium. So this is made from melting down cryothium dust, but for this we need blizz powder. So I guess I need to find blizzes somewhere. Oh no, I can make it in a fluid canning machine. I guess it's the same as this recipe, right? 200 millibuckets, 200 millibuckets. Yeah, okay, so it's the same recipe. In that case, we don't need to find blizzes. Cool, all right, well, I'm gonna do some crafting. Once again, I've run out of redstone, but thankfully our farm has produced a little bit of this stuff. I think these are witch drops, so it means we don't quite have to go mining it. Also, nope, never mind. I thought I made a config change so that I could see the actual amounts in here. When I open it, I can see the amounts, but oh well, whatever. How much iron is in here? 16 blocks, nice. I'll take it, because I'm almost out of iron too. So we should be able to make gelid, or what is this, blizz powder out of snowballs like this. Takes a little while, but again, means I don't have to go find blizzes. Alright, I have everything but the gelid cryothium, so let's build this machine out. I'm told that the preview is rotatable in some version of this modular machines, but it doesn't appear to be rotatable in this one. Unless, did that say something? No, it doesn't say anything about how to rotate it. Oh well, I'm pretty sure... Oh, those need to be snow bricks. I'm already doing things wrong. Let's try that again. Yeah, so it'll at least tell, you know, the structure here is mostly symmetrical, so this will work. But it's just like it wants, you know, I don't want my machine facing this way, I want it facing this way. Unfortunately, I can't rotate that. Alright, whatever. So I'm just going to build this machine here, and then we can hopefully use it to cool our ingots. Melting down the cryothium dust into gelid cryothium. We need 2 buckets of it just for the machine, and then I believe it consumes a small amount per operation. Right, so 2 buckets just to make it, and then let's see. Oh, we can make cold iron too. But like these recipes, I'll take a little bit of it, so we need a bit more than that. Melting, I think I had 24 pieces to begin with. That's what, 6 buckets? Could be plenty. And cryothium source blocks sink, so if I place it there, it'll fall down. And then all we have to do is put the fluid hatch on top and the blueprint inside. Haha, there we go. Missing input item, there we go. So I see. Let's get a tank. Sure, this will do. And then we'll automatically pipe the cryothium in from there. I see why the snow is forming up here. Because there's cryothium source blocks inside, those cause snow to form on nearby surfaces. Anyways, because I only use a tiny hatch, I actually only have 100 millibuckets. Actually, is 100 millibuckets enough for every recipe? Does anything take more than that? Doesn't look like it. Cool. Anyways, input items go in here. And not enough energy. That's what happens when you don't plug it in, eh? Try that again. And there we go. Steel. We are on our way to our first piece of steel. Our first piece of steel. Anytime now. There we go. Nice. So does that complete the quest? Oh, it wants the cryothium in buckets. All right, fine. All right, 2 cryothium buckets. We'll store it all in there. That should do the quest now. Nice. That unlocks. So the advanced blast furnace is just like a blast furnace, except you can automate it. You can also use preheaters to speed it up. Cool. And I need 4 steel ingots to complete the quest for a token. Alright, I think I have another token already, right? What are these called? Tier 3? Yep. So let's see what we can buy in the quest store. Tier 3, this one? Environmental controller or Spectre energy? I'm not sure what Spectre energy is. Is that just their wireless energy transfer? That's what these things are, right? Spectre coils? Not quite sure how these work. What's our other option? Environmental controller from RF Tools. I guess this is nice. Sure, let's I mean we'll get them both eventually. Let's grab the Spectre energy first because I'm kind of curious how this works. Aha. Alright, so looking at this, I think it functions a lot like what's it called, Flux Networks mod. You have a Spectre energy injector, which you put energy into, and then Spectre energy coils take energy out of that. So it's just a nice wireless energy system. The recipe requires a beacon, but hey, we have another star now, so we can do that. This Spectre string takes a lot of ectoplasm, which we have to kill spirits for. How do you do this? I'm pretty sure you need like splash potions. Don't you, like splash harming to kill? You know how every now and then when you kill a mob, a spirit pops out? It seems like we need a lot of it. So until we really have an automated, at least a decent way of getting ectoplasm, I don't think we can really take advantage of this. Although it would be cool. I'll get back to that Spectre energy stuff later. Having steel unlocks a lot of possibilities here. So let's see, we can get hop graphite. That seems to lead into the large crafting tables, ultimately into cloches, which are cute. We can get into nuclear power from industrial craft. It's a great way to produce EU. Advanced generators, a great way to produce RF. And the very beginnings of applied energistics. I wonder. I'm actually thinking, let's take a look to see if we can make that arc furnace. If we can, it will be a lot easier to... that's not the right furnace. But it'll make it a lot easier to make steel. Alright, here's a list of materials we need to make in order to make an arc furnace. In addition, I guess we also have to make the electrodes, which require that hop graphite stuff. So it's a lot of steel, straight up, 6 blocks of steel plus some other stuff. But I'm going to make sure we can actually make all these like engineering blocks and such. Turns out I think we can make everything on this list. So let's start working on it. By my count, it'll take like 90-ish steel ingots to do it. Most of, about half of that is just those 6 blocks of steel. But I have, I think, 24, so another stack-ish to go. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that means we're going to have to go mining again. This quartz takes a lot of... actually, I'm not sure what our bottleneck is. Maybe crushed quartz? Let's see. Can I make more of these? Certus. Alright, so I have to go to the end to mine that. Oh, what a pain. Since the ores we're looking for are pretty scarce, I'm thinking let's make the scanner modules so that we can have the scanner, find the ores for us, and then all we have to do is dig it up. So that takes some green dye, and since I haven't found a desert yet for a cactus, we'll just make do with turning these Botania plants into dye. So that should be plenty of petals, and then we can grind them into dye. When I'm looking for a specific block with the scanner, you just configure a module by shift right clicking on the block. You see it's configured, and then you can pick this up. And now when you put the module in the scanner, so you put it in the active area or the modules area, you do 2 range and 1 of the ore, and then when you do this, it'll highlight the ore. Here I expect it to highlight nothing because obviously there's no black quartz here. So if I go back to Atom, we should see it find some. And would you look at that, when you charge it up, it shows where the black quartz is. Now it's quite a ways underground, so I think I have to get into a cave before I can really use this, but this will help us get, these relatively rare ores. Stack and a half-ish of quartz ingots later, we can start cooling those. Oh wait, no, you don't do this yet. First we have to cook these into hot ingots, don't we? Instead we can process some iron plates through this though. Hello sheep. And that takes a little while, but they'll turn into the plates we need for the advanced blast bricks. These things. Right, let's see, we also need some black quartz and netherrack dust. Alright. Our steel is processing now, and that'll take it some amount of time. So while that happens, let's start by taking the time we have to upgrade this farm plot to these 10-10-10 seeds. That'll just make it produce canola faster. Not that we really need faster canola production because we're not, using it that much. But that's fine. Faster is better. And in fact, it might be so fast that the item conduit can't keep up. Ooh, that's very good. Anyways, my thought is I will also set up a second farm plot here for our biofuel. So let's take a look at, or we already were going to use the potatoes, I believe, as our biofuel source for now, right? So let's get some of our potato seeds. 1 is enough. And plant them. It's just 9 plants, but they're producing a lot of pumpkins. In fact, they're producing, once again, more pumpkins than our item conduit can withdraw. But whatever. We're going to fill this drawer up with pumpkins, and then we just have to turn pumpkins into pumpkin seeds, I believe. So that's what, just like that. All right, so we need a crafter. Mechanical crafter will probably suffice. And I think I might be out of item conduits. Can I make more? No. Alright, so this will produce our pumpkin seeds. Again, this crafter is a lot slower than the farm is, but that's fine. Once we have pumpkin seeds, then we now need to put them in a bioreactor. But before we can make the bioreactor, we have to make, let's see, machine case. That's not too bad. But we also need plastic. So let's start with this. This is probably the longer process. Dry rubber comes from a latex processing unit. I guess we need to start with machine cases. All right, let's batch craft a handful of these then. What is it? Redstone, iron, and quartz plates. Cool. Time to make machine frames. There we go. When they're done, they should automatically, they're automatically feeding the next item down. So, these cases, they take what? Oh, only 50k each. So in fact, this one should be done pretty soon. Any second now. Or this should be progressing at 1k a second. There we go. But yeah, it takes about less than a minute each. Now that we have machine cases, we can make the tree fluid extractor. Let's see. Oh, this doesn't even need machine cases, huh? So this takes logs to produce liquid latex. In fact, does it say what type of logs are best? Acacia followed by dark oak, and I think everything else is the same. Alright, so I should try to find some acacia saplings, I guess, or at least dark oak. But anyways, let's make a few of these. Cool, looks like we had 2 acacia saplings already. Let's just grow these trees a few times to get a bit of wood to, process. Thank God for Vein Miner. You can get almost all the trees in one go. Haha. Alright, now we have, that should be plenty. Tree fluid extractors don't need power or anything, they just produce. So we can use a block placer here. That is way too loud. Is there another quieter option? Let's go with the auto placer instead. You get out of here. Alright, the auto placer, much quieter. It doesn't make a sound except when it actually places a block. So these will slowly turn the tree into latex, which we can then process in a latex processing unit. The latex processing unit combines latex with water to make tiny dry rubber, and then this just has to be crafted and then I think furnaced. Oopsies. Let's see, crafted and then furnaced into plastic sheets. Out of curiosity, let's compare the resourceful furnace, which I believe is the MFR equivalent of a furnace, or rather the industrial foregoing equivalent of a furnace. Looks like it cooks 3 items at a time. And takes 80 ticks to cook 3 items. How much energy is this? 80 R for tick. I think this is actually faster than the what furnace is this? The redstone furnace, right? And it uses, well, I mean, the redstone furnace can have the augments, but I don't know. The reason I'm curious is because it even makes essence. I guess that's like the EXP you normally get. It's cute, I guess. The reason I even consider it at all is because the upgrades for these, right, these upgrade kits get pretty ridiculous later on. Like even just the Signalum tier upgrade has to be made in the advanced crafting, and let's not even talk about this recipe. So let's see how that shapes up compared to the upgrades for the industrial foregoing. What mod? I think it's Tesla core lib is what provides the upgrades. Energy, speed. These look like vanilla recipes. Let's try it. Alright, so with no upgrades, we saw before it does. If I do this, it doesn't auto split, unfortunately. That's a shame. Well, it does up to 3 items then every 80 or every 100 ticks at 80 R for tick. If I put in, let's start with just 2 energy upgrades, it makes it. See, energy upgrades actually make it run faster. So like energy upgrades are really speed upgrades, but that's already twice as fast. And if I put the speed upgrades in as well, it doubles the energy per tick, but it also makes it take less ticks. All right, and if I, manually split the items, it runs very quickly. Added benefit, it produces essence. So for now, I think I'll actually rely on these resourceful furnaces over redstone furnaces, mostly because, well, they're faster. And just like that, plastic sheet automation is done. I'm pretty sure these plastic sheets can also be used in place of like the little plastic balls. Let's see if I can find a recipe. The ones for, here we go. So these recipes that use rubber balls. Instead of rubber, we could use plastic. And since this is automated, it's like almost fully automated. I do have to manually provide the wood, but each piece of wood produces a lot of rubber. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, now we have this rubber. We can make the, what's it called? Bioreactor? I should have sugar from my mob farm, right? I think witches drop that. Sugar. A couple stacks of it, good enough. Mushrooms. I don't have brown mushrooms. Whoops. Mushrooms. Thank you. And then a bioreactor. So this will turn those potato seeds into biofuel. I hope. back to the overworld. I have a spare mushroom. We can use we can grow the mushrooms. You know, we can farm them later if we need more. So the bioreactor, where you only provide it with one item, looks like it can't occupy more than one slot. So actually, that does make it somewhat easier to set it up to take 9 different items. You just need, I can, modify this farm to have 9 different crops in them, dump it into a drawer system of sorts, and then dump them all into here. But for now, we'll start with something simple. This produces biofuel. Then this biofuel, we'll have to make the advanced generators stuff here later to burn it. But that is the next step. I think the time we took setting up this probably killed more or less enough time for most of our quartz to get turned into steel. All right, it'll take 3 more pieces of steel, or wait, 6 blocks, 54. 1 more piece of steel to make the arc furnace. So I should be done any second now. There we go. Let's turn these into blocks. And then we get to build an arc furnace. All right. I like this preview a lot more than the whatchamacallit mod, modular machines one, because you can rotate it. But anyways, it's just putting blocks in the hologram. So see you when this is done. Structure is built. We hit that to form it. Get rid of all the red boxes. All right. To plug it in, we have to supply power to these 3 contacts back here. I appear to be short a few energy conduits. But we're not quite ready to use this yet. And I'll show you why in just a second. All right, that'll do. Let's see, plug you in. All right, so this is the output slot for slag. Slag is basically a waste product, but we'll keep it for now. This is the output slot for the actual materials you're making. Clearly not a waste product. Inputs go in the top here, but we need electrodes before we can use this. So let's see what it takes to make these electrodes. The electrodes can be made on a metal press or an engineer's workbench. I think the engineer's workbench produces better ones, but you might have to, you have to find the blueprint as in a loot chest, or can you trade for it? You can trade for it, I guess. Maybe that's what we'll do. But yeah, let's see if we found one. No such luck. Anyways, in both cases, to make the electrodes, we need hop graphite. So this is done by cooking hop graphite dust. Yep, it's only one way to do it. And hop graphite dust is made by squeezing coke dust. And coke dust is made by grinding coal coke. So, or crushing rather. So we're going to need, oh, interesting, you can make dark steel this way. Anyways, we're going to need to make a crusher, a squeezer, and a metal press, unless we can find this blueprint or find or trade for this blueprint. Thankfully, the crusher uses a lot less steel than the arc furnace. Unfortunately, it uses a lot more iron, and I am out of iron. I have 4 ingots left, a bunch of plates, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go mining again. One mining trip later, and we're back in business. So the crusher, whoopsies, is basically just like a very fancy, like a macerator or a pulverizer. But there's, some recipes that have to be made in a crusher, so I have to make one. And here we go. What block do I click? There we go. So items go in the top, and they come out this port, I think. One thing to keep in mind is, well, first of all, we have to plug it in. But when it's powered, it will also crush players. So, I don't know, don't jump into it, I guess is my point. One more energy cable. For now, we need to crush some of our coke into coke dust. Well, let's see, it should just be a matter of throwing it in the top. Make sure this, oh no, this is immersive engineering coke. Almost definitely it'll work. So yeah, just to demonstrate, if you jump in there, it starts crushing you and it hurts. Yeah. But since I don't want to crush myself, I will instead throw that there. Cool. It does take a fair bit of power, if I recall. Let's see if our energy buffer is draining here. It is not, but no, tough to tell exactly how much energy it's using. None of these are even draining. I suspect the book might tell me. Nope, doesn't say. Oh well, whatever. Takes a little bit of power, but it produces this coal coke for us, or this coke dust. Now we need the squeezer to turn this into hot graphite dust. Here's a squeezer, and it takes power, let's see, from this port. Maybe I should have built it the other way. Oh well. I always find myself a little bit short on energy conduits no matter what I do. I can connect to that side. Aha! I have enough this time. Victory. So, I can take some of the dust from here. For now, we'll just, yes, whatever. We'll turn it all into ingots. And that should turn it into hot graphite dust. And then this we can just cook in a regular furnace for hot graphite ingots. Turning the ingots into the actual electrodes, as I mentioned before, we can do it on the metal press, but I would much rather just craft it on the engineer's workshop because you get the full durability. And these actually have a lot of durability, 96,000. And I think that's the number of ticks they're good for. Whereas, if you craft it here, you only get half that. Anyways, but to do so, I have to find the blueprint, and I'm going to try to find a village. Let's see, there's a village here that I think this village had the immersive engineering building. So I'm going to go over there, see if I can kidnap the immersive engineering villager. Alright, this is definitely the immersive engineering building. Let's see if we can find the villager inside. He might just be somewhere else. Hopefully he's not dead. This village has like 6 shady merchants in it. It's like, it says it gives you a diamond. Here, I'll even show you. It says it gives you a diamond, and then he disappears, and after a second, it's like, you got a fake diamond. Anyways, unfortunately, there is no machinist in here. So I'm going to check one more village. If I don't find it, I'll probably just make the metal press. Well, I didn't find another village, but I think this is one of those nature's core things. So let's just take this instead. How do I pick it up? Shift right click with an empty hand. There we go. Voila. So my understanding is if I place this near the munch dew, should be close enough, it'll generate leaves, which the munch dew will eat. I mean, it'll generate logs too, but it doesn't care about that. And very slowly fill our mana pool. Don't really need it because we have this, our other automation, but hey, more mana. Anyways, since I failed to find the villager though, why don't we just make the metal press? In order to use the metal press, you also have to create its molds. So first let's make some paper. Guess I'm out of rice. Make some paper, and then make the press mold, or the press pattern. Let's see, put this here. For now, we'll only make they take 5 steel plates each, so I'll only make the rod press. But obviously you can do other things like make gears, plates, wires, bullets, etc. Most of that stuff we have other, like plates and gears, it's much faster to make in the metal bender. But for stuff like wires, the metal press does represent the best way to do so. Anyways, form. We need to put the mold in it. Give it some power. And then just toss some graphite on. So I think it can do up to 3 of these electrodes at once. Now that we have electrodes, we can finally start using our arc furnace. So electrodes go up there, and then let's get, how do I make steel in here? I think it's up 1 piece of iron, let's see, stealing it, 1 piece of iron and 1 piece of coke dust. All right. So stack of iron and a stack of coke dust. This is so much faster and better than the other way of doing things. So coke dust goes up in these slots, iron goes up in these slots. In fact, we can even split it between all the slots, although I guess then we use more power. But yeah, this just makes steel, with the only requirement being RF and coke dust. We no longer have to make that quartz steel, which uses a lot of quartz, which requires a lot of mining, yada, yada, yada. This is now a much more efficient and quick way of making steel. Now, we do need to make more power if we want to run this at full power. I think it drains 512 RF a tick per piece that it's working on. So, because here I put it in all the slots, it's trying to work on all 12 pieces in parallel. So that's trying to drain, 6,000 RF a tick. Naturally, because I'm not providing it with, I'm incapable of providing it with 6,000 RF a tick, it runs slower than that. But there you go, steel ingot. See, much faster, much easier than going through the long way. Now, I think we still need the cooler to make some other things, namely the like cold iron. But we no longer need to put steel through this process. I guess there's a little bit left that it has to process. Now that we're producing a lot of steel, or at least a fair amount of steel, and using a lot more power than we're producing, I think the next step is to increase our power production. So my plan is to, as I mentioned before, get into advanced generators. The quest looks like it asks for just these components, but we're going to, just using two steel turbines isn't going to be nearly enough power, right? Steel turbines produce, 200 RF a tick each? My plan is to upgrade them to manual once we can, once we make them. So that's for, 2 turbines is 1,000, but we can add more as we go. Anyways, so let's start crafting these, starting from the gas turbine controller. Is there anything here that takes a lot of steel rods? Wait a second. It's just as efficient to make them by hand as it is to do it on the metal press. But would you look at the time? It looks like we are out of time for this episode. So we'll come back tomorrow and make the advanced generator gas turbine to burn our biofuel and make more RF. So I do hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.